The winter wind howled through the narrow alleyways, carrying with it the faint scent of damp earth and despair. Jack, a retired firefighter, tightened his coat and adjusted the woolen scarf around his neck. It had been 5 years since the accident, a building collapse that had taken away his mobility and filled his nights with echoes of lost cries. Now, he walked with a cane and a heart weighed down by guilt and solitude. That morning, as Jack stepped outside to fetch his morning paper, he noticed a scruffy dog huddled near his porch. Its ribs were visible, and its fur was matted with dirt. The dog lifted its eyes, soft, amber pools of hope, and Jack froze. He'd always been a dog lover, but after his injury, he hadn't thought himself capable of caring for another being. "You're in the wrong place, buddy," Jack muttered, his voice gruff yet tinged with sorrow. The dog wagged its tail, a slow, steady rhythm of optimism. For days, the dog lingered outside his home. No amount of shooing or ignoring made it leave. Eventually, Jack gave in, leaving a bowl of leftovers near the porch. To his surprise, the dog didn't gobble the food but waited until Jack stepped back inside, as if respecting his boundaries. Weeks turned into months, and the dog, whom Jack named Max, became his shadow. Max had a peculiar habit. Each morning, he would sit by Jack's side as he sipped his coffee, resting his head on Jack's knee, as if sensing the weight of unspoken grief. Max never barked or demanded attention, he was simply there, a quiet presence in Jack's otherwise lonely world. One icy evening, as Jack and Max walked through the neighborhood, they heard faint cries. Following the sound, they discovered a car stranded in a ditch, with a mother and her young daughter trapped inside. The engine sputtered, and the cold crept in. Panic flickered in the mother's eyes as she struggled with the jammed door. Jack's heart raced. He wasn't the man he used to be, strong, capable, unafraid. His cane felt like an anchor, reminding him of his limitations. But then he felt Max's nudge against his leg, as if urging him forward. "Stay here," Jack told Max, his voice trembling. But Max didn't listen. The dog darted toward the car, barking furiously, drawing the attention of nearby passers-by. Fueled by Max's courage, Jack pushed aside his doubts. With the help of others who had gathered, he managed to open the car door and pull the mother and child to safety. As the ambulance arrived, the mother hugged Jack tightly, tears streaming down her face. "You saved us," she whispered. Jack shook his head, looking down at Max, whose tail wagged furiously despite the biting cold. The lesson. That night, as Jack sat by the fire with Max curled at his feet, he couldn't help but reflect. Max had taught him something profound. Loyalty isn't just about staying, it's about showing up, even when it's hard. It's about believing in someone when they've stopped believing in themselves. For the first time in years, Jack felt a glimmer of hope. He realized that life's greatest lessons often come from the most unexpected teachers. The next morning, as the sun rose over the frosted rooftops, Jack laced up his old boots, ready to volunteer at the local animal shelter. He had been given a second chance, one he owed entirely to a scruffy dog with a heart far bigger than his size.